Welcome back, everyone. We are now up to item 20, the Youth Portfolio Lead Report, and I'd like to ask Tyler to present it, please.
There's a presentation on there.
Oh, that's us. Yeah.
Sweet.
You're looking good.
So firstly, I just want to thank Danielle Endicott and the Community Services team for putting my thoughts into writing. And Danielle's done a lot of work in this space. Wherever I'm not there, she's going to be there. So I just wanted to give a shout out to her first. Next slide. So as everyone knows, this is my third one now, I think. This is what youth looks like, and this is who I'm representing in terms of the portfolio. 20% of the city's population is aged 10 to 24, which is defined as youth. Under that are also defined as children, but I do delve into that in some way, shape or form. Next one. So in terms of a council perspective, there are guiding documents that the council utilise, and that's the Strengthening Community Strategy, the Equity and Inclusion Policy, which the youth policy was melted into. We've also got the Christchurch Action Plan, which in my opinion is a little bit outdated, but we still have a lot of relevant parts in that. Councillor Johansson's probably going to ask some questions about that. And lastly, the Wayne Francis Charitable Trust part, which is the PYDA. Next one. So just a quick update on all of the organisations across the city that are doing some amazing work. The first one is YCD Youth and Cultural Development. I've been working with them quite closely as of late. They do some amazing work across the city, particularly with running the Igloo. They do a lot of the outreach programs, and I got to join them in a couple of their basketball 3-on-3 events across the city. The one in Riccarton was really good. We also have the Christchurch Youth Council, who are asking for a review of our MOU, and they also run a youth takeover survey, which is attached inside the report. The last one is the Ding Awa, which is the Canterbury Youth Workers Collective, and they're an organisation that are sort of the champions for youth workers. They surveyed 37 organisations, and something that was quite poignant in this is the 37 organisations have a total of 64,998 young people who are engaged annually. And the average young person across those programs is to be spent around $140 per young person. The cost of youth work is estimated to be around $19.20 per hour per youth worker. So 64,998 young people received assistance from our youth workers, which is a quite significant amount. Next slide, please. Some awesome stuff that is also coming from the council, and I want to also give a shout out to the council for giving the $2 million for the event centre at the Youth Hub. They have been doing some amazing work. It's flourishing, and the way that they're able to fundraise was something that we should be really highlighting there. Their transitional housing unit is also active, and they're pretty much ready to go. They're good to go. Te Tahi Youth are the next one, and that's also under Dame Sue Bagshaw, which is support for our young people. They're looking for a new home. They've outgrown their space in their current headquarters, and if they were to move to the Youth Hub, they'd be filling up all of those seats in the Youth Hub, and there's a lot of hot desks and a lot of space for the Youth Hub to be able to flourish there. But Te Tahi actually require a lot more than what's available at the Youth Hub, even though they will be having some cross work over there. The next one is the Kind Foundation. If you see the Kind Foundation, they're just right across the road from the Botanical Gardens. They're also known as the YMCA. Phenomenal work. They have a 4C centre, which is providing access for young people to access digital means, things through digital means, and also have run a lot of events and youth programs for that area. Next one. SPACBAC. Anyone who turned up to the festival, the Polyfest, you'll see that they are the big player for that. They do some amazing work in terms of the Pacifico movement involving annual events, and they also collaborate a lot with the City Council. They also are looking at other ways to reduce barriers and strengthen mentorship support for Pacifican business leaders. They're also going to be running some young leadership programs throughout the year, and the City Council support them quite well. I'd like to also give a shout out to Sina from our own team for championing that on a Christchurch City Council lens. Next one is the School Strike for Climate. I wanted to acknowledge them. They actually gave a lot of submissions in our last annual plan and long-term plan, and they gave some really great notes in that. They also met Phil. They met Phil a wee while ago. That was good fun.
By the door.
Alongside Councillor Templeton. And they've been quite strong in that space in terms of youth activism and climate strategies. The next one is Arataiuhi. Now, they're the peak body for youth development in Aotearoa, and they're dedicated to developing projects and sharing resources, tools and information to enhance youth engagement practices. They are going to be running an annual Involve conference, which is the national event for youth development in New Zealand, and Christchurch are going to be the host for Involve 2025, and it'll be the first time since 2006. Now, the most recent conference attracted more than 1,000 attendees at this conference, so I'm looking forward to turning up to that and seeing all the young people and change makers that are involved in that. So in the report, you'll see that Danielle and I have both attended various events across Christchurch. A lot of those were around many different factions, schools, organisations, champions, and also had some speaking events on both of our sides. Next one. So there are some community board insights that I'd like to quickly talk over too. The community boards support young people in their own different ways, and for the different community boards across the area, they have supported them through youth funding, through activation of spaces such as Loop over here in Papanui, but they also supported them through funding and resourcing like Te Pā Rako Houtu, who are highlighted in here, who won an award for the Zayed Sustainability Prize. That was a phenomenal bit of work from Te Pā, and I want to give a shout out to them too. And you'll see the youth space in Northlands Mall, and those that are involved in those community boards, the Central Community Board, that is a highly successful space that's being used. It was actually in collaboration with Northlands. They were open to it. They were ready to move to make sure our young people were in a safe space, and also had a place to call it home. We have youth initiatives across all of council, the parks team, the libraries, the coastal team, transport and recreation and events. The art gallery is also doing quite a lot of things. And one thing that I'm really proud of and seeing is our council supporting our young people so much through various means. And I didn't realise the size of contribution that the council gave to young people until I saw all of the beautiful events and the support that was given through multiple units. Next one. Cool. So we've got a general state of the sector, and this one is a bit more eye-opening, but we're seeing a lot of different things around systemic issues for our young people. And the things that you see in the media isn't always true. The 98% of young people are contributing phenomenal members of our community, and it's the 2% they get the media attention. The youth offending has gone up. The rate has dropped slightly from 2024, but violence against youth has gone up. We also see that educational achievement, the proportion of students leaving school without at least NCA Level 1 in 2023 was the highest since 2013. A lot of them relate that to the pandemic and also changes within their own social spheres. We're noticing that across the board, particularly of those areas with high deprivation, and we're needing to find ways to try and find them some direction, and also ensure that we're doing our part and ensuring that young people are thriving in those areas regardless of the deprivation that we're seeing. Now, being in that space, it's been quite eye-opening. I've been in that space prior to this anyway, but I have a lot of hope for the future in terms of the way that we're engaging with young people. In my view, as the portfolio lead also, we could do a bit better in terms of engagement, and I wanted to give some appreciation to Mary and Gary in making sure that we get Danielle, because that has really upped the stakes and it's really helped us with our engagement with young people in those organisations. This portfolio is a huge role, and so is the multicultural one. And to be honest with you, I could have done with just one of them. But long story short, the state of our youth in Christchurch is always going to be a work on. However, I'm seeing it from a positive angle, and the things that we're contributing to young people is really phenomenal. And that's my report.
Excellent. Yanni,
Just
well done.
thanks for the work that you're doing. It's really cool. I was just wondering if there was any update on the bus exchange. I see there's been some more assaults there. I think 3 years in custody. Is there any update you can give us on what we're doing at the bus exchange, and is there any resolution or any action we can take as a council to try and make it safer? Because clearly what we're doing now is not working.
We could get Kelly to do some opera down there, perhaps.
Yeah, I can provide an update on the bus exchange. So there's currently a procurement actually going under for a new contract or an amended contract with the current security that's there. There have been question marks around the productivity of the security that was there. However, council staff went back to the security there and said we needed these things. I'm seeing improvements. YCD are also training the current security up in terms of youth engagement and making sure that they're doing a lot better. However, noting that we are in charge of the security that are in the exchange, we're not in charge of the security that are on the buses. So ECAN are running the security that are on the buses. So it actually needs a more holistic view in the way that we manage our security across not only the bus, but also in the interchange itself.
So have we had anything about what happened last night?
In terms of the antisocial, was it just the scrap that happened last night at 5:30?
Persons in the hospital after being assaulted by a group of young people at the bus exchange.
I haven't had any updates from that.
Okay. Could we get some updates about what's happened and possibly what we could do in the short term? Like, we just need to boost security there. I mean, at 5:30 on a Tuesday, people should be safe to take a bus in our city. So
Absolutely.
There is
appreciate the work that you're doing on it.
No,
I'm not getting at
you're
you,
right.
but
There is also a hole. The hole is security cannot cross the road. So if there are issues that are happening on Litchfield or across the road, the security staff aren't able to engage with that event. It's actually a police job. It's something that I'm actually having a hard time even trying to fathom myself, because there have been multiple antisocial events
right, okay.
where staff couldn't engage because of that.
Maybe we can find out what's happened. But then if there's a delegation to staff or some additional resources that we can put in place in the interim until you can get the permanent procurement stuff sorted, I personally think we should be considering it. We're trying to get people on public transport.
The procurement that Tyler's talking about is a continuation of the security in the building or on the land. Yeah, not outside.
One of the things is working more closely with that city safety team. And I think that one of the things is on the framing. So the city safety team, they deliberately didn't call them security. It's a proactive what we're aiming for rather than a negative, if you like. And they've been really effective. And I think a closer link between those around that site would be really good.
Sorry, just one more question. Do you know what hours the youth workers are working at the bus exchange?
Between 3 and 6 off the top of my head.
Okay.
Right. Any other questions of Tyler's report?
And the youth workers are mainly for deterrence and making sure that the young people in the igloo stay safe, more than intervening in antisocial behaviour. But they're very good at bringing down the level of intensification when it comes to antisocial events.
Tim?
Just two quick things. First one, there are more job applications now online, and young people with learning disabilities are almost kind of really excluded from that. So I just wonder, at some point, if we could get, I have no idea, I'm a bit older than I was before, but how that's affecting young people with learning disabilities and what are the options for them. That would be really good to be made public. So I know parents are very concerned because it's kind of brushing those kids aside and they'll never get involved with anything.
Yeah, I can note that. It's really good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I guess the second one is for Mary. Could we get a follow-up from our staff, because we've been in discussions with ECAN with regards to the leasing of the bus exchange, because it's totally agree it should be one organisation running the whole lot, but ECAN are only interested in the land they want, and they said when they came here last time that they didn't have a bus exchange, or they didn't have a depot close to the stadium yet. What is the bus exchange? So it'd be really good to follow that up, because we need one vision and one control for that site. It'd make it a lot easier for those trying to deal with it.
One thing I'd like to say about the bus exchange, because it's probably the only platform I'll be able to use it, is I think this council should really start thinking about different means of security and engagement, particularly in those public transport corridors and areas. So, for example, are more security, are they more effective or less effective adding more security guards or not? I mean, would having a security trained youth worker be more valuable and give you more bang for buck? Potentially. There's back and forths and to's and fro's about it. But what we do know is that having someone with a big stab-proof vest walking around looking like a bully in comparison to someone who actually could relate to the young people would probably be a lot better. I must also say that the antisocial activity and the events are actually listening, particularly after YCD have come in to the igloo. That's a really good thing. And security staff are doing a really good job after they've been talked to and they've been trained by our youth workers. But that's something that we need to start thinking about potentially around finding some other options.
Now that is fantastic. Any other questions? The seconder will be Pauline. Okay, so we've got mover obviously and seconder. Any debate? Discussion? No, that's good. Well done, mate. That's very good. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. That is very well carried. That's great. Thanks, Tyler. Right, so and you're back on.